Humans have come a long way since the cave-dwelling days when they used smoke, horns and drums as a means of communication. The mobile phone is one invention that has changed the world and opened a wide world of communication.
Indeed, the growth of mobile selling business is very high, not just in Kenya, but across the globe. And of course, many people are out here in search of a great deal. So today, our guest is Saini, of course, the owner of Titanium Phones. He will be taking us through what exactly the penetration of gadgets is like in the country and how much it has captured the market. Right here on The Millionaire's Mind with me, Linda Alela.
My name is Saini. I'm the owner of Titanium Phones. 9 to 6 p.m. job, Monday to Saturday. I'll be traveling the world or doing something else. But yeah, I chose to sell phones. I graduated from the University of Nairobi with a degree in journalism. I'm not using it. I choose business. Be the better person. Choose a business, build the world. Thank you.
Yes, and it's time for Business Nation. Crossing over straight to Harry. Harry, how are you?
I'm fine.
Now, of course, I'll ask you, I mean, such a tender age, I can tell from your face. I know you're like, how did you know that I have such a tender age? And I can almost guess that you're not 26 just yet. And you're thinking business?
Yeah.
You're thinking, is it another level? I mean, why and how?
I'd say it's a passion.
Right.
Since primary school, I've just been selling things. It's always been in me. I used to sell bracelets. I crossed over to high school. There's something called shambalas. I used to make them in
Oh, yes,
3.
I know.
I felt rich at the time.
I can imagine.
I was probably building something bigger
Right.
without realizing what I was doing. Then over to after school, I used to play the violin.
Right.
But I ended up selling my violin to start a small business.
Wow.
Yeah, so
What
I've
does
been doing
business mean to you, like generally? Because business is not a joke. There are people who are into business and it's a serious thing.
the ups and downs,
Right.
and that's the best part. It's not like a regular 9 to 5, 8 to 5 job.
Right.
You have your really good days, your bad days, and they balance out, and you get like an average of the best time of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Shambhala, I would assume ni kubahatisha, you know, the to be is not very much expensive. But now you're into phones, you know, mobile phones is quite it's not a joke. It's not a business that
It's
you toy
not.
around with. So, I mean, how do you just get to win your customers, and how do you even get to convince yourself that, yes, this is worth a deal?
When we started, there are 100 people we got at first.
Right.
The same people who brought more guys. So we try and give you the best kind of service. We go an extra mile. In case something goes wrong, we must be there for you. We don't ignore you after you've paid. We always follow up. So eventually your mom, your sister, your neighbor, the husband will end up buying a phone from us.
Yeah.
Be it a phone, an accessory, phone repair service, we provide it to you just because of that trust chain that we've built.
Talking
Yes.
of something going wrong, the very first experiences that you had, imagine you've put your money into this,
Yeah.
probably you've sort of imported this, then somebody comes and tells you, okay, well, something is amiss on basically what you sold me. How did it feel and how did you receive this?
The first time it's
Yeah.
really hard because you're human beings.
Right.
Some things go bad and you are not expecting that to happen. So you lose a lot, but in the process you learn that losing is gaining
Right.
to some extent. So sometimes you lose goods, you lose clients, you lose you make losses, a lot happens.
Right.
Yeah, but in the process you learn a lot.
I would want to ask you how you deal with that, because, man, everyone is scared of failures. Everyone is
Yes.
scared of losing. You do not want to put your money on something and you're not getting, returns at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would say this after, it's been 3 years now. Every year, I know that like 2 months where there's failure, not 2 months particularly, like 2 occurrences
Right.
that have failure within them. So I've prepared myself every time because life is a lesson.
Right.
So you must learn through the good times and the bad times.
We'll
Yes.
certainly get to know some of the lessons that you've picked that are crucial and you'd want to share to anyone who started business. But before that, let's just take us briefly through your story and how you decided to set up these phones and not anything else. Why didn't you just proceed with the Shambhala thing and accessories and all that?
All right. For me, I'm very artsy, so that's why I was on Shambhala and the fashion side. I had that going on for a while, but then it just flipped because I'm also very tech savvy. These phones, I really like them.
Yeah.
beyond just making the profits and all. So how I started,
Yeah.
I quit my job. It was in November 2016.
Right.
Yeah, I just decided, you know what, there's more to life than this.
What were you
And,
doing before that?
I used to work at Samsung Electronics. I was
Okay.
a sales representative.
All right.
Yeah, so I
So
enjoyed
you
my job.
equally used to do, cell phones, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
even before. I enjoyed my job. It was because of this camera and the good specs on this device and how the phone would change the world. That is how I looked at it. But for other people, it was just a regular job.
Okay.
So I quit my job, took a 1 month off, enjoyed myself. I really like food, so I had to eat through that process. And then January came.
Yeah.
So I had to level up, change my ways, and now start afresh. The first thing I did was silly, but I think that's the best thing I
What's
ever
silly?
did for myself.
Okay.
I really wanted a good phone.
Right.
Samsung provides good phones, so does iPhone. But I picked the iPhone. I remember it was a 6S Plus. My angle was, this camera is really good. I can do good marketing with it. So I started from there. I bought covers. I imported them. Covers, phones. And then from there, titanium phones just started growing slowly by slowly. I think the angles and the lighting was just perfect for the customers. Yes.
All right, I'd love to know your marketing strategy, but before you tell us about your marketing strategy,
Yeah.
how many times have you probably gone back to the shop that you used to work for and you sort of meet the very same people, or you still find the very same people who were there? What would be your advice to this one person who's working for another person?
Yeah.
And every other time you're told it would have been even better if you do it yourself. Someone was telling me the other day that sometimes when you're making, sort of 80,000 while you're working for someone, people would rather get 60,000 for the very themselves, like you would rather get 60,000
From
working
doing it
for yourself
yourself,
as
yeah.
opposed to getting 80,000 working for somebody else. So what would be one advice to these people who are constantly always working for people?
All right, I'd probably add something. One more, there are two ways to it. Some people are just for business, others are for the employment industry, which is fine. But for those who want to pursue business 8 to 5, you're wondering, when will I stop? When will the money be enough?
Yeah.
It is never enough. So just wake up, quit, start doing whatever you want to do. Whatever your heart is chasing for,
Ooh.
there's no time. So we'll all get to 40 and you'll have regrets,
Right.
but I won't have my regrets.
Or you're certainly about that.
Yes.
But you won't have your regrets. That's awesome. That's a great one to pick. And talking about, just making that extra coin, it's basically what everyone would want, you know.
Yes.
So what would be your day like, at work, or maybe in your business, as you're doing business? Just take us through one of your days, while doing this.
We open at 9 a.m. Do our marketing as usual, Instagram, Facebook. We wait for the calls to come in. We also use WhatsApp for the marketing. Yeah, so first thing you do in the morning, advertise and market.
Okay.
Look into the messages you got throughout the night, the previous night, and then, proceed to the sales. From there, things just go well. Hi guys, I'd like to order an item. You get orders piling up. Phones, covers, repair at the same time.
Oh,
Yes.
so e-commerce is your main strategy of marketing?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
One would argue that then what is the essence of having a shop? I mean, if I still get clients online and everything, I can always do deliveries, or I can tell them to come at my home or whatever. So what is the essence of having such an expensive, shop in the middle of the CBD?
Yeah.
It's pretty much expensive. Does it have returns and all that? And what is the business sort of wisdom behind that?
All right, I'd say people carry an image with the kind of shop you have. With the one we started with, it wasn't as good, but this is really nice and everyone likes it right now.
Okay.
But I would tell you, there's there's this thing to do with picking up your item, dropping it off, repair services. You really need a shop.
Right.
And also when it comes to this market, we haven't really gotten to maybe the US kind of market where you just order stuff online. You guys are very skeptical. So they're like, where are you located? Where is your shop?
Right.
Where do I meet you?
Security and all that.
Yes, is the product genuine? Things like that. So when they come to the shop, they're very comfortable and very happy. And also, when you're selling phones, some people want to come to the shop, see what you have, get your advice. Sometimes over the phone doesn't work like that. Yeah, so they prefer to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, while they show up, I can imagine such a very common business. That is one thing that is for sure.
Yes.
And a business that very many people fear. And like we started by saying, every other person is out there in search of a good product.
Yes.
So how do you ensure that you sort of win the confidence of your clients? Okay, word to mouth, maybe you've done this well, but what is this extra thing that you probably think you've done that is different from what every other person who's selling phones in town has done?
All right, what I give is when you're coming to buy a phone, I must give you options, which I learned from Samsung, actually. I give you the highs and the lows of this device. Maybe you need a better phone, maybe a smaller one. Is this camera what you really need? Some people want things and they really don't need them. So I make sure I understand your needs, how you take care of your phone, how you use it. Is it for the office? Is it for taking photos of your cute baby? It matters. Those small things really matter. So eventually when someone wants to buy a phone again, they will not call someone else. They will call you, not because you have the iPhone XS Max in stock, but only because you advise them towards the right direction.
Setting up a shop, or when you want to sort of look for a nice shop for your products and all that, one would argue location is very important. It's okay, this is probably within the CBD, but I'm assuming how many people would know that there's a shop up here, you know, and everything like that. So why is it that you opted for something that is more enclosed and you something that is probably more, I don't want to say private, but is not as is not right out there to the proximity? You cross over the streets of Nairobi, you'll always see everyone with their phones and everything and all that. So why this particular one, and how best does it work for your business? Do you have walk-ins?
We actually don't depend on walk-ins because I believe times are changing.
Yes, the future is digital, let's say.
Even when you're buying your clothes, you probably would check online first, ask them if they delivered, do you have a free size, things like that. So same thing with mobile business. Right now we're moving towards the e-commerce side. Walk-ins are very minimal. Maybe our neighbors would come in and bring more, but we depend on like online business, 100%. Yes.
Now, did you know that nearly 3/4 of Kenyans use counterfeit goods? Out of 70%, only 19% purchase counterfeit goods knowingly. 50% claim they bought the goods because they were cheap. 17% were looking for original items but couldn't find, and 18% were not even aware of the risks.
Okay, let's address counterfeit, which is something I know you people face, you know, troubles with a lot. First of all, where is the market of your phones? Where do you get your phones from, maybe?
We import our phones from Dubai, Canada, of course Hong Kong, and some South Korea. But it depends with the model, because every device is from like a different place.
Let's talk about counterfeits. Have you experienced a situation whereby you've gotten phones mwetu, so to speak, and you know you had to deal with that, and you know you've already imported and you have to struggle with all this? What have you done about that? Or maybe you've not experienced that.
I haven't. The worst that's happened to me is I imported goods and we lost the goods.
Now that's a thing. Have you lost, and what was the experience like? You know, imagine you have had to import this and all of a sudden the luggage is nowhere to be seen.
It was really hard, but right now I take it as a lesson, because sometimes, like I said, you must lose some things in your life to understand and gain more knowledge. So we lost a lot and we kept on trying to find what we've lost, but it was not possible. So you have to like move on to other things and build other places, otherwise you'll waste time on old news, on ancient things.
Just curious of where you lost this, because then I'm thinking, of course, this shipping activities in the country, is there proper security for the products that we ship in, that we import in? And do you feel like maybe there's need that the government looks into such issues? Because then again, it is quite absurd for you to get to lose such, you know, products, and I mean, there's no compensation and you just have to let go.
I would say I've been using the same company for the longest time. So this happened only once. Sometimes things do go wrong, but I would advise you have like insurance. Now I learned that during a period. I didn't have insurance for my goods, for my products. So from there I learned that you need insurance for your business. Yes.
All right, so the biggest challenges you've ever, you know, sort of experienced while doing this, and some of the biggest successes and, you know, happy moments that would make you, you know, want to keep going apart from the passion.
I took like 100 steps back. That sounds wrong, but yes. The shop was robbed, everything was taken away. That was the worst thing that ever happened. But from that, I've learned that you just need to believe in yourself, keep going, and everything will be fine. Because that was just last year when everything was stolen. We had big orders with Jumia, we had big orders guys had paid for. We also sell used devices, so guys had paid for that already. New devices, used devices, so we had to like counter all those losses without sharing all the information, trying to keep everyone close to us and not pushing them away, because this is a business. We need the customer and they need us. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting and pretty sad at the same time, but also a learning lesson. I think this is a question I would have started by asking, but anyway, I'll still ask it. There are many times when people would want to set up businesses. Of course, there's that passion,
Yeah.
but there's always a feeling that you probably do not have enough money to set up this. You don't have enough capital. You don't have enough boost. What would be your main advice to such people who, yes, have all the best of business ideas, but they have literally not put them into
I would tell
practice?
you, it's not about the money. It's not about the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Because while you're sitting there waiting for your capital to grow, for it to become more, someone else is starting up,
Yeah.
selling the 2 products, which will turn into 5 and then 10.
Right.
And sooner than later, it'll be a big business while you're still waiting for your capital.
Right.
So I'll tell you, don't wait for anything. Just jump off that cliff and do whatever you're supposed to do now.
Well, take
Yes.
that big risk. And in about 3 minutes, we are back to understand more about money. And you know how just you get to balance the papers and all that. It's pretty much important that we get to learn that. But first, let's have a talk with your colleagues and let's get to hear what they think about you.
My name is Rahim Parker.
My name is Clarence Ongaro. We work for Titanium Phones. Well, it pays to have people who you think like-minded with. I think relating to an older generation is a bit hard because they don't see things the way you would. Plus, I think people of our generation are more concerned about customer service and we're able to relate with the clientele because most of our clientele are people our age.
And it's also fun as well.
Yeah, it's extremely fun.
It's extremely fun as well.
Don't be hard-headed. Don't be hard-headed. The customer is always right. And think of the business first. And then as you think of the business, you have to make sure your mind is set in the right place. Because if your mind is not set in the right place and you don't have actual goals with your business, you won't succeed. So yeah, you need to be focused on what you're doing and be able to align everything else around your business to make sure they align with your business goals. Yeah.
For me, I tend to think it's a good customer service because when you have good customer service, you have a growing reputation amongst other people, whether it's directly or indirectly. So one thing that we do here at Titanium Phones is we ensure that we have good customer service and we relate to our clients as much as possible. So good customer service is what I've learned from here.
And on Money Talk, while you might say that it's not always about the capital, I think it's important you also have some discipline when you're dealing or when you're handling money. And that's the reason why we want Saini to tell us more on how disciplined he is in terms of handling his money. And I'll ask you this question. You said, of course, it shouldn't be the capital, but I would want to ask, okay, at some point in time, you have to start with something. So how are you, okay, how discipline can someone get to that point where you're able to manage the little that you have started with for it to grow to this level, let's say?
That's a heavy question.
Not really heavy, but yeah.
First of all, don't start feeling happy. Don't get excited.
Oh,
Okay, I started in high school, so whenever I made 10,000 in Form 3,
that's a big deal.
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So for me, I was keeping it for more beads, for more braces, so that I could sell them to like customers. But most people get the money fast and then get super excited about it, spend all of it, get
Yeah.
expensive things, but that's not how it works. Learn to save some money, pay your expenses,
Right.
do away with everything else, and then think about yourself. Because you need to think about your entity as a person. When you
Right.
think about it that way, you're able to set aside money for yourself, for the business, for expenses. Yeah, and you're not always excited about the money you just got.
Okay, bouncing back, you mentioned that at some point in time you woke up and boom, there's nothing in the shop, and here you are, is like you've gone back to ground zero. Then money is involved and a lot of things are involved. So what is the secret behind bouncing back in the event that you've been reduced to almost nothing?
Such situations take you through a lot of stress and depression.
Right.
But then at that particular point, you realize there are people around you who never talk, who never tell you anything, but they guide you through this particular moment. But then the most important bit is picking yourself up.
Yeah.
Because if you're sad and you're just dwelling on the past, even the people who are looking up to you and want to be there for you, be it financially, emotionally, they can't be there for you.
Right.
So you need to put yourself together and move forward.
Financial secrets to that, because, well, in as much as maybe you'd want to put yourself together and you are willing to go back and bounce back, well, there are financial constraints that would come along with that. And I know you started by saying that maybe capital is not necessary, but I mean, just getting back into the level when you look at it at the financial perspective, because when you lose all this is money, then what?
Good question. It was in September and we were preparing for Black Friday, so we lost everything for Black Friday.
Right.
So my next target was December, because December people buy phones like crazy. I would not lie to you. We stood in front of our counter from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., extending over to 7 p.m.
Wow.
And guys were just buying
people.
phones. So that particular period, that December period, you have your bonus, you feel generous, it's your family. Yes, we had a good time.
Oh, so you thrive in things like bonuses and all that?
Yes, I'm not ashamed
At
to
that
say.
time, that's amazing. That is amazing. You shouldn't be. I mean, that's technically the techniques behind, you know, successful businesses. If you'd ask, you know, some of the most successful entrepreneurs today. Okay, lastly, what would be your biggest lesson in terms of finances that you'd want to teach someone else there, be it in handling finances, in getting finances, in managing finances? Yeah.
I would say nowadays I've resorted to a sort of minimalistic kind of life, whereby it's not about what I really want, but do I really need it? It started out this year, and this year has been amazing. Not only with the business, but as a person, you get like personal growth, and that will reflect into the business. So get what you need, not what you want.
Right.
Yeah. So also remember to pay yourself after you've done everything else, because you started the business, right? If you're making losses, the business is a person. Think about it as an entity, as a person who has needs, and not something that is feeding you. Because if you feed off the business, you're literally a vampire. You're wasting your time. You're destroying the business. Yes. Think about yourself as an employee. Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. And of course, great lessons equally to pick there in terms of finances. And it's, that was just way too serious, of course. And you must be thinking, I mean, how can Linda be that serious a person? So I'll make it easy. At least we need to laugh a bit and just get to understand you at a personal level. And that is on Quick Fire.
Jesus Christ. Blue. That's a lie. Black. Brown skin. Hey. BMW. Yo. Rihanna. Yo.
Now that I've gotten the chance to be inside here, you know, I was busy trying to look at this just to figure out whether the shining, whatever, the glitters are just down there, or maybe they're sort of moving. I don't know.
They actually move.
They are. This is beautiful. Technically, of what a girl would want.
It's what you guys buy all the time.
There you go. So I think I love it, and I mean, and now I understand where. When you were saying that it's important, sometimes you set up other things apart from, you know, just selling the phones. It's important that in your shop you equally have some things that complement, you know, whatever it is that you're doing as the main thing. And I must say we're grateful for having us and commend you for the great job that you're doing. Pretty young, and also, you know, having taken up the challenge of doing this is something that is certainly commendable, and basically what you would wish for every other youth to take up, as you know, in terms not waiting for us, you know, that's moment you talk about, oh, job, that jobs, no jobs, government, no jobs or anything. So when you take up this, you are suddenly at the right place, and not just this, but, you know, just trying to show you how confident you can be in going out there and translating that passion that you have into business. I mean, it's not always about the capital, as Harry would put it, but it's certainly about what drives you. Right here on The Millionaire Mind, it's always a pleasure to update you and equally give you that bold move that it's important you go out there and sort of chase that dream, because then it is possible. If somebody else can do it, if Harry can do it, then what makes you think you cannot do it? My name is Linda Alela. It was great having you on The Millionaire's Mind. See you next week.